In a quaint little village nestled at the edge of a vast, whispering forest, life unfolded with a quiet rhythm, marked by the daily routines of its simple folk. Among them was Naaz, a woodcutter whose days were spent under the canopy of towering trees, where sunlight fought its way through dense leaves to touch the earth below. The forest was more than just a workplace for Naaz. It was a world of mystery and wonder, a place where the wind seemed to carry secrets and the trees stood as silent sentinels guarding tales untold. On one particular day, Naaz found himself hurrying through his work, his axe swinging with practiced precision as he chopped wood to meet the village's needs. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, and beads of sweat rolled down his brow, a testament to the unrelenting heat that draped the forest like a heavy cloak. He was late, and the urgency to finish his task pressed against him, urging his hands to move faster. As Naaz worked, his eyes caught something unusual, an old, gnarled tree standing a little apart from the others, its bark etched with strange, intricate marks that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly glow under the shifting light. The marks were unlike anything he had seen before, almost as if they were carved by hands not of this world, their edges sharp yet ancient, shimmering faintly as though kissed by starlight. Naaz paused, his axe resting against his shoulder, his breath catching as he stared at the tree. The heat, the hurry, the weight of the day, all seemed to fade as his curiosity stirred. What were these marks? Why did they glow? His fingers itched to trace them, to uncover their meaning, but a flicker of caution held him back. The forest, for all its familiarity, had always felt like a place where the ordinary could give way to the extraordinary, and this tree seemed to be a doorway to something beyond. With a hesitant step, Naaz approached the tree, his heart pounding in his chest. The marks glowed brighter now, their light pulsing in rhythm with some unseen force. He reached out, his fingers trembling, but before they could touch the strange carvings, a sudden gust of wind roared through the forest, fierce and unyielding. Leaves swirled around him, and the air grew heavy, charged with an energy that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. Naaz stumbled back, his eyes wide, as the ground beneath the tree began to tremble. The earth groaned, a low, primal sound that seemed to come from deep within, and Naaz's breath hitched as he watched in awe. The soil around the tree's roots shifted, splitting apart to reveal a hidden door, its surface rough-hewn and ancient, blending seamlessly with the earth until this very moment. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, descending path that led beneath the forest floor. Naaz stood frozen, his mind racing. The forest had always been a place of stories, tales whispered by the elders about spirits, treasures, and secrets buried in the heart of the woods, but he had never believed them to be more than folklore. Yet here, before him, was proof that the stories held truth. The path beckoned, its darkness both terrifying and alluring, promising answers to questions he hadn't even known to ask. His hand tightened around the handle of his axe, and he glanced back at the familiar forest, its trees standing tall and silent, as if watching him. Naaz's curiosity burned brighter than his fear, and he knew he could not turn away. Retrieving a small lantern from his pack, he lit it with a trembling hand, its flickering flame casting shadows that danced across the tree's gnarled bark. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, crossing the threshold into the unknown. The path beneath the tree was narrow and damp, the air cool and heavy with the scent of earth and stone. The lantern's light illuminated rough-hewn walls, their surfaces covered in carvings that seemed to tell a story of their own. Figures and symbols, faded yet intricate, depicted scenes of ancient rituals, celestial alignments, and guardians standing watch over something precious. Naaz's footsteps echoed softly as he ventured deeper, his eyes darting between the carvings and the path ahead. The tunnel sloped gently downward, and the further he went, the more the air seemed to hum with a quiet energy, as if the very walls were alive with secrets. His heart pounded, not just from fear but from the thrill of discovery. What lay at the end of this path? What had the forest hidden for so long? After what felt like an eternity, the tunnel opened into a small chamber, its walls glistening with moisture and flecks of some crystalline stone that caught the lantern's light. At the center of the chamber stood a treasure chest, its surface adorned with the same strange marks that had glowed on the tree above. The chest shimmered, its edges catching the light in a way that made it seem almost alive, pulsing with a faint, golden glow. Naaz's eyes widened, his breath catching in his throat. The chest was magnificent, its craftsmanship exquisite, with intricate patterns that spoke of a time long forgotten. Gold, jewels, artifacts of unimaginable value. It could only be a treasure of legend, the kind that could change a man's life forever. For a moment, Naaz stood transfixed, his mind racing with possibilities. Wealth, comfort, a life free from the toil of cutting wood. The chest promised all of that and more. But then, like a whisper in the dark, his mother's voice echoed in his mind. "Son," she had said, her eyes warm but firm, "whatever you want in life, never give in to greed. It clouds the heart and leads to ruin." Those words, spoken years ago, grounded him now. Naaz stepped back, his gaze lingering on the chest, but his resolve hardening. This treasure was not his to claim alone. It belonged to the forest, to the village, to the stories that had shaped them all. He would not let greed define him. With a final glance at the chest, Naaz turned and retraced his steps, the lantern's light guiding him back to the surface. The forest greeted him with its familiar sounds, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, and he felt a strange sense of peace, as if the forest itself approved of his choice. When Naaz returned to the village, he went straight to the elders, his voice steady as he recounted his discovery. The news spread like wildfire, and soon the entire village gathered at the edge of the forest, their faces a mix of awe and disbelief. The elders, wise and weathered, led a small group to the tree, where the hidden door still stood open, a silent invitation to the wonders below. Naaz guided them down the path, the lantern now shared among them, its light illuminating the ancient carvings and the gleaming chest. The elders examined the treasure with care, their hands tracing the marks, their voices low as they discussed its significance. Some whispered of legends, of a time when the forest was a sacred place, guarded by those who valued wisdom over wealth. Others spoke of the village's needs, new homes, better tools, a school for the children. To Naaz's surprise, the elders turned to him with respect in their eyes. "You could have taken this for yourself," one said, his voice heavy with admiration. "But you chose honesty, and in doing so, you've brought a blessing to us all." The village agreed that the treasure would be used for the common good, to repair homes, to build a school, to ensure no one went hungry. Naaz felt no regret, only a quiet pride that warmed him from within. In the days that followed, the village began to transform. New roofs gleamed under the sun. Children laughed as they learned in a freshly built